Hey y'all, I'm up here pondering and playing in the dirt. How are y'all this evening? That looks pretty, don't it? That old sun setting on these elderberries out here. I got a ton of them to plant, as you can see over in that buggy. But I'm taking my time and caring for each little hill. And normally I get after it and want to do the whole row all at one time. But that usually means I cut a few corners. So instead of doing that, I've committed to do 5 a day. That way I know I can relax and do all 5 of them to the best of my ability and get them in there good. These are cuttings off of Dad's tree over in Huntington. They sat in a little jar of rainwater for a couple of weeks, and they didn't have a leaf on them when I put them in there. You can see all them roots are doing quite well. I've got a little chicken manure and compost in that cart there. And as I do each of these little holes, I put a bed of that in there. So next step will be bark mulch to hold in the moisture. But we're doing that here on the top of the hill. I had them last year, and a lot of that rain and some poor planting kind of knocked me out, so I'm having to start over. It's a 2-year to harvest deal, so I'm behind a year or so, right? How are y'all on this fine Sunday? It's a beautiful day here in East Texas. Love to know where you're watching from across the country and the world, and we'll do a little roll call here in a minute after we stroll and catch up a little bit. I've been a little bit gun shy after my last video. I be honest with y'all, I've done these for 5 or 6 years, and always give them a little thought, lots to share. But I kind of got caught up in the cogs of the Facebook machine as what they call a creator. I thought that was funny at first, because I didn't create nothing. I'm just tending it, right? And started trying to jump through their hoops and do this and do that and post this and post that. And finally, just after a year, you just throw your hands up. So, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the basics. Do it like I've always done it. And those with the ear to hear will hear, and those that don't, right? If y'all remember, if you jumped on the last time we did a live, they wanted me to do it this way and change the phone up, and couldn't hear me. Anyway, it don't matter. So I know I'm playing on their playground, but I'm just going to do it like I've always done it, and here we are. So hopefully the audio will hold and the signal will hold, and we'll all get through a few minutes visiting. I was out there on my knees, and I've done my share of praying on my knees in this field, but I wasn't necessarily praying today. I was a little meditating, thinking about some things, and those elderberries, I compared it to Christianity in a way. Hold on, don't click off. Listen to me now. So, when you think about those, I've come across those a few years back, and I ran through the cycle. When I first moved back in on this old place, there was no way to even see the other side. The weeds were higher than I was, and I was taking it down by hand, one by one. I remember a gentleman out of Waco, I believe his name was Bruce. I don't know if he's still a follower or where he's at. That's been 6 years ago. But I was cutting down some stalky-looking things out there, and he commented in the chat not to do that. That was elderberries. Well, I'd never really heard of them. I thought I remembered them on the table at the IHOP back in the day when they have all those different syrups, boysenberry and strawberry, all that, but didn't know much about it. Got to research them, and apparently we do a lot of importing on those little things from Europe and across the way, and there's a pretty big demand on them. I've noticed lately that they're just about in everything from Epsom salt to vitamins to tea to everything. So they grow native here. Got to researching it and decided I'd put in a little orchard and maybe pay enough for my farming habit, buy some feed for the animals. Well, as time progressed, I shared my excitement with a few folks that are dear to me. Now, granted, I'm getting to my point. Y'all just hang on a minute. I was excited about them, right? Saw the benefit of them. Saw what they could do, and it was a good crop for a field in East Texas. I've got some friends and family that are accomplished agricultural businessmen and huge operations, lots of capital, and they don't get involved with anything that's not going to make it. They didn't do the MU thing or this thing or that thing, so they want something solid. Well, in my excitement, sharing it with them, a couple of them took a shot and come by here, and I laid out how it's done and how easy it is here in East Texas. And sure enough, I've got word that they've started their own orchard in East Texas. And I was thinking about that. I get no benefit from them at all. It's not like Amway where you recruit this one and that one. Y'all remember drawing them circles? Oh, Lord, I did. Them multi-level things. It was just good news about something that I wanted to share that they could benefit from. And it hit me today. It's a lot like our Christian walk, isn't it? When we're excited about Christ and the hope and the peace and the love that he gives us, it's easy to share those things, and people want to be a part of something that's good. They don't want to be had. They don't want you to get over on them. Just do it altruistically. That's what Christianity is. You don't necessarily get benefit from it personally, per se, but you know that you've led someone to have a personal relationship with the Master. That brings me to my other thought I had a few weeks back. And, of course, it's an ever-present problem on social media, and y'all know how I feel about that. Most of you do if you've followed for any length of time. But the rhetoric, the craziness that we see. I think what gets me so melancholy, I don't know that it's not anger, it's disappointed in my Christian brothers and friends. And I see them cracking lenses, as my daughter says. What does that mean? Well, you know, if you're young married or whatever, and you have a little squabble with the hubby or the wife and don't really have anybody to turn to, or if you do, not a big deal, just one of them little old marital spats, and you confide in a good friend or a family member about the angst that you're feeling. Well, all of a sudden, y'all make up, move on, no big deal, but your friend's over there remembering how hurt you were and how upset you were, and they care for you. Even though they see that you moved on, they're looking at that other spouse or that friend with cracked lenses. Let's see them a little different. Maybe hold a little animosity toward them. Reckon it's the same thing with our witness and Facebook, and we get on there and have a valid point about our stance on things of the world or politics or whatever administration is this or that, and we've got to let the world know how we feel. Set everybody straight. Saddens me to think that maybe, just maybe, there was that distant acquaintance, maybe that old high school friend or that coworker that you haven't spoken with in 20 years that you worked with way back in the day. They've had a rough time of life. They haven't come to know Christ quite like you. And they're watching you. Not intently, but curious about this thing called Christianity that you claim gives you so much peace and joy and hope. And one day they hit the end of their rope. I said, you know what? I remember my friend from way back there said they trust in the Lord. I think I want to reach out to them, maybe find out a little bit more about this Christ that they talk of that gives them so much peace. So they jump on Facebook and they run over there to your page to send you a message just to contact and say hello. And lo and behold, there you are, spouting off the mouth about some ignorance and something that has got you twisted that day. What disappointment it must be in their mind to say, man, I was looking for hope, I was looking for goodness. Looks like everybody's the same, and Christ isn't my answer after all. Something to think about, folks. It's pretty rough, isn't it? But it's the truth, and you know it. Even past that, people that look to you for counsel, if you're running willy-nilly about, yeah, you might be right, might be dead right. But there's things we talk about among family and behind closed doors that we don't have to do in public. Paul, 2 Timothy 4. Timothy wasn't his natural son, 30 years his senior, Paul was. But Paul loved Timothy like a son, knew his family, knew his mother, his grandmother. Read it for yourself. Paul was in prison, and his time was drawing short. And he wrote the first Timothy. It's kind of a guideline to ministry. Timothy was his protege. But that second Timothy there in the book, that's a little different letter. You know how you can talk to friends and you can kind of be high level and cheery and even maybe talk about some serious things, but when you're talking to mom and dad or to your brother and sister, it's a little different. You can get a little more real. They know things about you that some folks don't. You can have those hard conversations, those old lane conversations back in the day. Well, that's what 2 Timothy kind of was to Timothy from Paul. He wanted him to know as a family the straight truth of how to be a disciple and an apostle of Christ. He exhorts him to remain steadfast in the faith, to not get rattled, to stand by his truths. I don't think he'd let Timothy have a Facebook these days. If he did, it wouldn't look like most of ours, would it? I use Facebook as an example because it's something we know and understand, or it's familiar to us, but it's our daily life. We have to be vigilant because you don't know who's watching, right? Reminds me of a story of a college junior she was. The professor was walking across the campus. She was in his class, and he happened upon her around lunchtime, and she was wearing a sweatshirt with a big K on it. Didn't stand for the school. The professor was perplexed. He said, "Young lady, it's a beautiful sweatshirt color there, but what in the world does that K stand for?" She looked at the professor like he was an idiot and said, "Well, it stands for confused." The professor took a second and took a back. He said, "Well, young lady, I'm sorry to tell you that confused starts with a C." The lady didn't miss a beat. The junior in college looked at him and said, "Well, you just don't know how confused I am." Funny story, but we don't realize how confused people are around us in life. Maybe you're a part of that confusion to a degree. You say you're a disciple of Christ, a follower, and yeah, we make mistakes. That's what his blood's for. But when we're flippant and angry and we lash out in public forums, it must confuse those that are looking to you for guidance and wisdom and peace. Maybe you're not a peaceful person after all. I know. I'm hoeing in the potato patch today. Well, let's get off that and get a little lighthearted here with my baby goat. Y'all, that one is something else now. That's one of the little does that was born on December the 1st. I had two of them. They're still both good. This is a little blue-eyed baby. She does not want to be without her daddy. I hadn't fed her milk in months, so it's not a feed need. She just wants to be by me. She'll stay in that backyard all day long until she sees me out here in the field. Then she scales that little cyclone fence like it's not even there. I've got to show you. I tried to do a little makeshift block here, set bag. It doesn't work. Now, I'm not that big a dude, but I'm 5'5", so it's a pretty good little fence there. Well, my electric fence is not holding the goats like I wanted it to, at least not enough to make me easy about having a garden and goats able to get to it. So they're a little bit sequestered right now, eating all pellets, which has driven the feed expense up a little bit, but they're in the chicken house. Well, I'm trying to get this little one to learn how to be with the other goats. So when I put her in here, and I could do it now, but I'm just not going to do it for whatever. But when I put her in there, I no sooner turn my head and walk away, and she has scaled this fence, this gate, pushes this open, and pops out on the ground, and she's back out. Will not stay in there because she's got to be by her feed source, I guess. She'll follow me up the rows and whatever. If I'm burning, she's got to smell the burning wood. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But I guess that's how we ought to be with the good Lord. No matter what, if we had that kind of spirit, nothing's going to stop us. We're going to stay in eyesight of him. We'd probably do all right, wouldn't we? Yeah. I reckon so. Well, got another week coming up, another chance to do better than we did last week. I intend to. Got a couple of big projects ahead of us this week that we'll get started. We'll update you a little bit on the garden. We've got big plans. I follow a weather channel for meteorologists, however you say that word, that one of my cousins told me about. He's big into that, and I've been following it for a few years. And this old boy gets it right 9.5 times out of 10. And pretty sure that Texas, this far south, is going to avoid any more freezes. My pecan tree hadn't affirmed that yet, but I'm still going to hold the 1st of April on some of my hot crops, as I call them, peas and corn and things of that nature. But we're getting a jump on the watermelons. As you can see, I've got miniature greenhouses around them. They're about an inch tall and doing well. We've got 1,000 potato seed plants, or whatever you want to call them, seed potatoes planted. They'll be popping up soon there. Garlic's up about 6 inches in the front. Mustard greens, collard greens. Got some broccoli coming up, some cabbage. I'm excited. I'm going to get to make some chow this year, y'all. I love that chow and them peas. And got a very dear friend that's going to help me with that. We'll talk about that more later, but that's going to be a good thing. But all is well here on the place. We're down to 2 on the puppies. Remember, I had 4. No, nothing tragic. Samson's went to live with my dad in his forever home, and another dear friend stopped to pick up Bo, the other male, this evening. I'll tell you, kind of kept it off public. It was embarrassing and aggravating, to be honest with you, but during the cool spell that we had a few months ago, puppies were doing absolutely fantastic. I feed them premium food, and they've got all their shots and doing well. Well, I put them in the backyard to get some sun, and they like that cold weather. And I had that little black goat that kind of got bumped on the road and was a little sickly. Well, farming's a learning thing, and I'm constantly learning new things. Well, I thought it was so cute when that little cold snap hit that little black goat and all 4 of them puppies got in that big old igloo and was just warm and snug, and everything was great. About a week or 2 later, I noticed one of the puppies was losing its hide on its rear end. Really concerned me. It looked rough. No broken skin, but it was a problem. First, I thought maybe the little dog that Jordan has that roughhouses with him had chewed on them or something, or the puppies just being puppies. No, that wasn't the case. After a visit to the vet and an analyzation, sarcoptic mange, y'all. The worst thing you can get. Now, I don't think it came from any strays. It could have, but talking to the vet, that goat can host that silly bug and then pass it on to other animals. Well, we've had a rout. All 4 of the puppies got it. Lost all their fur on their hind end. Just horrible. They're healthy. They're not hurting, but just miserable. A little silly bug. But it's super contagious. And with the help of some ivermectin along the way, we're on the mend. So all the hair is starting to grow back, and the bugs have found another place to live. I guess they got to live too, but they can't live here. But man, you talk about heartbroken to put all your stock in them little old puppies and care of them and walk out there and the little old things are just miserable with that silly mange. But so lesson learned: if you got goats, don't and they're a little sickly, don't put them with the puppies. I don't know that for a fact, but that's my new plan anyway. But all the animals are up, doing good. The 2 babies we had last week, they're healthy and they're still with mama. I'm gonna pull them here about the last week of their weaning process and get them used to me with a little bottle feeding. But they're cutie pies. But y'all think about this week. There's a lot of folks out there that on the verge of drowning. If you're out there in the middle of the lake or the sea and your little old raft's got a hole in it and you got just enough energy to swim 50 yards, and you look over to your left and there's a nice little pontoon boat with people happy and smiling and looks like safety. Got that choice, and you look to your right and there's another raft. Old boy's struggling on. It's like he's about to go down. Chances are, I imagine you're going to swim to the pontoon boat that's safe and peaceful. if that's all you got left. So let's be that old pontoon boat of safety and peace amongst a world that's dark and tumultuous, right? I'll leave y'all with this one. Stories told of a CEO of a large company who built it from the ground up, been quite successful. Multi-billionaire he was. He had several good employees in his organization, and he was a personable kind of fellow. Liked to treat his employees and take them out to eat along the way, spend some time getting to know them. Well, the head of finance, he called up one evening and said, "Bob, if you would, tell your wife I'm going to have the car come by, pick y'all up this evening, and let's go have a good steak and visit about things." Bob was excited. He always enjoyed spending time with his boss. His wife got dressed to the nines, and her and he waited for the car to pick them up. Everything was going smooth, and they arrived at the restaurant to fulfill their reservation. As they was walking to the door, the CEO stopped. Bob and his wife were in tow. They almost bumped into him, and noticed he bent over and picked up a penny laying there on the sidewalk. He paused a minute, he looked at it, closed his eyes and looked to the heavens and whispered a few things and put it in his pocket, and they proceeded. His wife, Bob's wife, was just bugged out of it. He just didn't know what in the world was going on. They made it through dinner, good conversation, a few laughs, and over dessert, she couldn't hold it any longer. She said, "Sir, I noticed on the way in you stopped and bent over and picked up a penny, of all things. I understand saving things and respecting things. Well, what was that all about?" He said, "Oh my, I'm glad you asked. I come from a time that was tough building this company, and every dollar, every penny mattered. But now, when I see a coin on the ground, I always make it a point to stop and reflect. For you see, on each American coin, it says, 'In God we trust.' But it goes deeper than that. My trust is in the Lord. But I always like to bend over and pick up that penny and look at the date. If it's a date within my lifetime, I try to recall that year. Maybe it was a year of struggle that I made it through. Maybe it was a year of victory when I was on top. Either way, I pause and I thank the Lord for his blessings on me and my family, my employees, and my country. So that's why I stop with every coin I see and make it a time of meditation and thankfulness to my Lord." That was pretty good. I've kind of looked at pennies on the ground another way. Used to be superstitious. They say don't pick one up if it's not if it's tails up, but tails up or tails down, it's still got those 4 words: "In God we trust." So I take it as a blessing these days. Maybe a little reminder to stop for a second and acknowledge the one that provides it all for us. Good or bad, we walk in trust, right? Let me do a quick roll call. Let's go over here by the outhouse this evening. I hadn't been over here in a while. I had to cut an oak tree down because the roots were growing into the base of it. Man, I hate cutting oak trees down. It's when I moved back in here, it wasn't quite this bad, and now it's got a little lean to it. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but some of y'all hadn't seen this. So it was an old 2-holer. How about that? It's been long since out of commission, so it don't smell bad, I promise. Those of y'all still hanging in, I had a couple of folks comment about the subscriber feed, and I kind of wanted to clarify that with those that have got the patience to watch all of this. They were lamenting that I was doing a subscriber feed, didn't think I'd ever do things for money. And I'm not discounting the subscriber content at all. It's a good 80 plus member family of just folks that want to throw a dollar along the way to help out the old farm here. And I'm very, very thankful for it. As far as keeping content from you, that's not what it's about. They're random. I guess all of them appreciate it, but it's just random moments around the farm. I just start the camera and we do a little chit chat along the way. So for those thinking that I'm withholding content, that's not necessarily what it's about. I think it came from my frustration with Facebook. I noticed that when you look at the page publicly, it shows subscriber videos blacked out, and there for a few days I think about a week or two, I didn't post any new videos, so it was all subscribers, so I guess that's what it looked like. But any confusion there, that's what that's about. So I will stay on the rhythm, but I think I'm going to do it on my terms as I think the Lord sees fit and inspires me. May not do a video every day, but we'll do enough along the way. I sure do enjoy the support that y'all have given and continue to give, just with sharing and your kind words and your commitment to be the light in the area you live. That's the main thing, that we spread the light of Christ. Well, let me go through here and see who all's on. I done rambled enough. I think we're on an hour-long show. Let me see if I can see what's going on here. Oh, where'd it go? All right. Y'all bear with me a second. All right. There's that silly stars comment. What I do? I need to take that off of there. Randy Edwards, Joel, things are looking good in that dirt. Yes, they are. It's we're looking forward with prayer and trust for a good harvest this year. I doubt very much of it will be sold. Got enough friends and family and folks that'll eat it right on that we'll just fill up some freezers around here. How about that? So y'all welcome to come help pick peas in June. Now I won't turn it down. We'll send you home with a few of them as well. That's if everything goes right, but we've done our part, and we'll continue to tend the field and let the good Lord just do the rest. That's what we're supposed to do anyway. There's Tim and Andrew Peavy. Evening, brother. Proud of you for doing it your way and have the courage to speak Jesus' name and share his word through parables. There we go. Keep it up, praying for you. I can use all the prayers y'all can throw my way. I'll sure take them. Thank you. Let's see. I'm still scrolling. I know some of y'all still under cold weather. Kind of feel bad with this beautiful spring weather down here. No, I don't. Okay, I'm over it. I don't feel bad. That's why you got to live in Texas, right? Just bring your work clothes. That's part of it. Not a whole lot of comment tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here. I'll catch up with them after the fact. So if you're on there and I missed you, I'm sorry, but I'll catch you on the flip flop when I go sit down. And these nights have still been cool enough to. It takes me a while to turn off that old gas heater in the house. It's just something about the warmth and the comfort of it. But it got a little run last night for a little while, and it got hot pretty quick, so we turned it off. But been able to back up to it. Y'all remember growing up around them old gas heaters? And Jordan, I hadn't pulled. I need to get him on it because we used to get taken out by our cousins, come up behind them with jeans on and pull their jeans to their calves, and it'll burn you up, won't it? Oh, that's a good feeling, though, backing up them old heaters. Well, sun's set. It's done its job. I've done mine. I'm going in the house for the evening. Well, no, I'm not. Tractor's still out there. I got to put it up. Got to talking and forgot. So we'll go put it under cover and get things shut down for the evening. Make sure all the animals are in their places. Y'all have a good evening. Make this week count and be that pontoon boat, right? Keep trusting, like what that coin says. Have a good week. Be the light. Talk to you soon.